What do you understand by third culture kid?
A third culture kid is someone who's from one or more places and they've lived in all around the world and all different places and possibly have only visited the place they're from as a tourist.
Do you think you're a third culture kid?
Yes, definitely.
Why?
Because my dad's parents are from Brazil. My mom's parents are from Slovakia, but she's somehow related to Canada. And I was born in England, in London, so.
What are the disadvantages and advantages of a third culture kid?
The disadvantages is always having to move around and not being settled anywhere and saying goodbye to everyone everywhere. And the advantages are like you're open to so much more stuff, like so many new perspectives and cultures, and you're so much more open-minded than you would be if you just settled in one place. That's all you've ever known.
What do you understand by a third culture kid?
To me, a third culture kid is a person who is from somewhere, though he's living somewhere else and he was also born somewhere else.
Do you think you're a third culture kid?
I'm not so sure.
Why?
Because I was born in England, brought up there, lived in Singapore, and now I'm in India. So my family background is India and I'm back in India, so it's a bit of a doubt to me.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of being a third culture kid?
An advantage of being a third culture kid is that you're very open-minded about things, that you've seen different cultures and you've been to different places and you know how it works there, you know what kind of things are normal there and you adapt to things well, though a disadvantage is that you don't really know what your home is. You don't know where you can always go to when you're not really sure and you don't really know what your home is, yeah.
What do you understand by a third culture kid?
A third culture kid is someone who's from a country and has parents from different countries and has lived in a lot of different countries.
Do you think you're a third culture
Yeah.
kid?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I've lived in a lot of different places.
Like?
Dubai, Libya, Indonesia, Thailand.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of being a third culture kid?
The advantages are that you get to go to new countries and look at different cultures, but the disadvantages are that it's hard to keep starting over and leave your friends and stuff.
What do you understand by a third culture kid?
A third culture kid is a child who has spent most of his developmental years in an area outside his area of birth. For example, moving around with your parents, living in other countries, but not going back to your place of birth.
Do you think you're a third culture kid or what?
Yeah, I think I am very much a third culture kid because I was born in a place, a very small town in India, which I've never gone back to. And I've lived all over the rest of India and abroad, but only gone back once to that place, that is Agra, as a tourist to see the Taj Mahal.
And what are the advantages and disadvantages of being a third culture kid?
A third culture kid is somebody who can be multilingual because they have traveled all over the place and picked up languages of other places. They could also have a broader personality. They could be more open-minded and they could be more accepting of other cultures. They definitely don't have a narrow point of view.
And the disadvantages?
Its disadvantages, you lose touch with your roots. You may go back to your mother country or your place of birth and not really know the people anymore, not really know the language. You may have moved far ahead of the culture, to the cultures of the places that you've been to. It could be disadvantages.
What do you understand by a third culture kid?
Well, basically, a third culture kid is someone who's been living in different places, like somewhere apart from where he's actually from or her, and who hasn't been living in like its cultures or that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you're a third culture kid?
Yes, actually, because I was born in Congo, where I'm from, and I lived there for like only I think 6 months, and then I went to South Africa with my parents, and I lived there for like 4 years, and then I came to India, and then now I live here for it's been 9 years. Since I've been living here, and it's really
What are the advantages and disadvantages of being a third culture kid?
All the disadvantages are like probably when you go back to your country, like it'll probably be hard for you to you know, develop the new cultures and like the different ways people are living. And the advantage is like you learn other cultures and like you learn other stuff apart from like being stuck in your own place and only learn what's from your country.
What do you understand by a third culture kid?
I understand by third culture kid is that you were born in some place, but you have lived in different places.
And do you think you're a third culture kid?
Yeah, I think I am because, well, I was born in Ecuador, but I have went to live in Italy and India, and I have like known other countries.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of being a third culture kid?
I think the advantages would be like that you can know other places and meet different cultures, but a disadvantage would be maybe leaving like my family and my friends alone, and yeah, it's kind of like I would miss them.
What do you understand by a third culture kid?
So a third culture kid is someone like yourself who is experiencing three different cultures. Normally it's three different cultures, but it can be more, it can be less. So you have your home culture, then you have the culture of your school, which in this case is fairly international, and then you also have your host country culture, which is India.
Are you a third culture kid? And
I didn't grow up. No, I'm not. I'm not a product of travelling all around the world. No. The first time I went overseas, I was 18, and although I have lived in lots and lots of different countries since.
What are the advantages and disadvantages, you think, of a third culture kid?
Sympathy, empathy, richness of and diversity. Understanding, all those things.
And disadvantages?
Disadvantages. Not having a home, not understanding where you belong, not having an anchor, perhaps not being able to form long-standing relationships with anyone because you fear that actually you're not going to be there for very long.
Okay, thank you.
For me, a third culture person is someone who's from one country but has experienced many different cultures and goes from one country to another.
Are you a third culture kid?
Partially, I'm from South Korea and I've been living here for 9 years. So, well, I haven't been shifting to many countries, but I guess I am partially.
Okay. What are the advantages and disadvantages?
Advantages, I think, you get to see a lot more variety of people's opinions and their traditions. And disadvantage, I think, I don't see my family often.
Okay. A third culture kid.
A person who's from more than one culture and lives in various different countries.
Are you a third culture kid?
Sort of. Yeah, like my mom is Indian, my dad is half Indian, I'm British, and I grew up in Australia.
Okay. And what are the advantages and disadvantages of third culture
More,
kid?
like worldly view of things, and you get a lot more exposure. So you're able to understand things and interpret things in different manners compared to someone who's only had access to one type of thing.
Thank you.
Countries or different regions. So this is the main term about we're living in many places. Yes.
Okay, so are you guys a third culture kids?
Yeah, we are.
Why?
And you can say I'm safe.
Okay, why?
Well, I want to be first. So yeah, we have lived in many places. Traveled around the world. Basically, it starts when if you're one of your family members, live from other countries. Like, for example, your mom lives from England England and your dad lives in Canada. So these two reactions, their child can be half mixed with two countries. Half Canadian, half English.
Okay. What are the advantages and disadvantages?
Yeah, that you travel too much and you can't really get to know the people from the places. But then again, you know everyone. You get very friendly with